Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your favorite doctor, the Doctor for Free, reaching you live from New York City. Ladies, if you happen to go to a doctor's place reporting that you have vaginal itching with discharge and the doctor offers to give you broad spectrum antibiotics, please get up from this seat and leave immediately. Can we delve into this matter? Okay. The reason I'm telling you this is that antibiotics actually can give you toilet infection. I'm going to call it toilet infection just to belong so that I'll be able to reach the audience I want to reach. For those of us in the Western world, we might be wondering, can this be possible? This is outlandish. This is surreal, but that is the situation. I get calls from several people from Nigeria, mostly young girls in the university in all walks of life, telling me how they went to a doctor with this problem and they were given series of antibiotics, usually injections, and I might say ceftriaxone, which is, the poster child for this kind of infections, and that it never went away. And I will tell them, when I tell them that was just the worst thing to do because it will make it exacerbate it, some of them will be astounded. But how does this happen? What we call toilet infection is mostly caused by three different species of organisms. You have the fungi, which is represented by Candida Albicans, also called yeast. You have the parasite, which is Trichomonas Vaginalis, and then the bacteria, which is a conglomerate of bacteria. Usually, the normal flora bacteria in the the urogenital epithelium, when they get distorted by instrumentation or anything, then it loses the protection, and this is where opportunistic infections like gardnerella vaginalis will rear their ugly head and end up giving you bacterial vaginosis. So let's talk about yeast. Yeast causes almost 90% of toilet infection. There I go again. But I'm going to be calling it that so that you understand. How does antibiotic intake cause that? Candida Albicans, which gives you yeast infection, lives normally in the passages from the mouth to the anus and the urogenital passages. It does not cause any problems because it is held down by commensal bacteria. So its infection is what we call opportunistic infection. It takes its opportunity, and then, just like some of these football strikers, or soccer strikers, if I go with American parlance, and somebody's in the penalty area and you just score because the chance came to you. So that's how it takes its opportunity. When somebody has let's say a lady has a urinary tract infection, or has pneumonia, or sinusitis, or any of these things that you give broad spectrum antibiotics for, these antibiotics indiscriminately distort the epithelium, the architecture, the bacteria. The commensal bacteria will go with the bad bacteria they are supposed to treat. So when they eradicate this commensal bacteria, which used to hold down these fungi, then there's nothing holding the fungi from becoming virulent. This is how you get infection of Candida or yeast from taking antibiotics. In fact, in North America where I practice, it's almost like a malpractice to give a young girl, a female, antibiotic for UTI or any other bacterial infection without giving them a tablet of fluconazole to combat the possibility of yeast rearing its ugly head or person manifesting with yeast infection, with vaginitis, like vaginal itching and discharge. So the other thing is that in Nigeria there is this stigma. It is ascribed to being unhygienic. So because of that, girls who have it do not come forward to be treated. They will surreptitiously go and use some unorthodox means, something that might be deleterious to them, harmful to them, and at the end of the day, distort the whole architecture and never get fully treated because they are afraid to be stigmatized. And that's why they call it toilet infection. When I get calls, people will just tell me, oh, I live in public here because of the toilet, and I'll just shut them down and say, no, tell me your symptoms and I will tell you how it came to be. That's for those who admit that it's for them. 90% of the young people that call me will always tell me that it's for their girlfriends or their roommates. Yet when I ask for food details, they will tell me the consistency. Still talking about yeast infection, the other subset of people who are more prone to yeast infection are diabetics, because yeast as an organism likes sugary substrates. This is also why pregnant women tend to have a lot of yeast infections, because most pregnant women will spill sugar into the urine at low threshold from when they were not pregnant. Most of these people are not diabetic. So this is about yeast, they like sugary substrates. Now, talking about the other organisms that cause this toilet infection, the parasite is Trichomonas Vaginalis that cause trichomoniasis. And much I can say about it is treated with a non-broad spectrum antibiotic called metronidazole, also popularly called flagell. It's funny because the third causative organism, gardnerella vaginalis, or just a bacterial vaginosis infection, is also treated by the same metronidazole. So, with yeast being treated by fluconazole, in my practice, in my community, where there is almost non-availability of lab testing, which I believe is replicated in other rural communities across Nigeria, what I do is to treat empirically. Here is the teaching, so that young girls will know that they do not have toilet infection because of dirty toilets or unhygienic conditions, so that they will not be bashful to come forward for treatment. Because this has led to misdiagnosis, mistreatment, chronicity, deleterious effects, and anything could affect fecundity and fertility in ladies. So this is to teach you, when you have toilet infection, come forward. You are not dirty. You are not unhygienic. It could be the antibiotic you took 2 weeks ago, last week, or it could be maybe the steroid you took for asthma or anything. It could be because you have low sugar threshold in the urine. Toilet infection is not a sexually transmitted disease per se. No, this is one of the reasons also that many of our young girls refuse to come up for treatment, because it is invariably associated with promiscuity. But this is a wrong premise. What I'm going to tell you is that there are virgins that also suffer from toilet infection, especially if they took antibiotics, or if they happen to be diabetics, or anything, any of the causes that I enumerated earlier. So don't be ashamed to come forward. Don't feel that anybody will judge you. Don't even judge yourself, because that will be erroneous. Somehow or the other, it could be associated with sex. in the sense that if you already have it as a girl and you get treated, but before you get treated, you had unprotected sex with your partner, then this male partner of yours could pick up the organisms and harbor them for you. So that even if you go and get treated and you eradicate it and you come back and you have unprotected sex with your same partner who is harboring the organism, then he will reintroduce it to you. This is where some people could make a case for it being a sexually transmitted disease, but it is not categorically classed as a sexually transmitted disease.